everyone! I'm here to talk about another favorite of mine, the Santa Clauses Season 1. Now, I'm only reviewing Season 1, and you're probably going to ask, why are you doing this in November? Well, I already have a December video recorded and ready to go, all set and ready to go, and you guys probably already know what that is. I mean, it's a Christmas movie I never seem to shut up about. And I have an entire gigantic display of shirts on that are from 1991 and 2. So, yeah. Anyhow, I'm going to talk about the Santa Clauses TV show. Now, I am a fan of the movies. I even like Santa Claus 3. At least parts out of Santa Claus 3. You know, the fact I did my man Bernard dirty was wrong. But the Santa Clauses TV show actually ended up being really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was interesting, fun to watch. I genuinely had a good time checking out the very first season, and I'm hoping season 2 is pretty good. I've heard rumor that it's supposed to be the last season of the show, and that kind of makes me a little sad. So, anyhow, let's stop talking and let's start reviewing this shit. The Santa Clauses Season 1. Come back next year and I'll do Season 2. I like to review a show when it's completely finished. So, let's get to it. The Santa Clauses Season 1. Let's hit it.
What are we doing out here? Look, if we're gonna dance, you dance like this.
I guess the very first place to start with the Santa Clauses show is the story and the route it's trying to reach. Basically, in this season, and I'm only doing season 1, keep in mind everyone, basically Scott Calvin is losing his power slowly, and he basically spends the first stretch of episodes trying to keep in shape for his Santa ability here. So he starts off by losing weight. It's kind of a callback to the second movie where he's losing weight, and it's sort of a semi-desantification process. Unfortunately, this time I believe he has to find a replacement. So, yeah, this one does have a lot of good stuff in it and good points. He basically has a trial and separation going on with the characters, and we get to see him portray Scott Calvin again as Scott with his new wife Carol and their new children together. And of course we get callbacks to the other characters. But then he is able to give the Santa position to another character played by Kal Penn, who sort of becomes the antagonist of the entire show. This is actually a slow burn. He is a inventor, or a toy inventor, that kind of gets shafted a lot in meetings and etc. He's also a single father, and they try to make you more sympathetic towards his personality and character, but him being Santa kind of is a complete power trip for him, and he forgets the entire reason that he wants the job in the first place, and he becomes corrupted. The portions of the story I really like are moments between him and his daughter. I really enjoyed that a lot. And we get more mythos in this too. There's a lot of nice callbacks to the first 3 films. Hell, one of my favorite moments is how they use the toy soldiers as reoccurring villains that the toy Santa used. And I really do miss the toy Santa, by the way, everyone. He's my favorite villain. It's just Tim Allen in a suit of ham, basically. But I just really like the aspect road where the story went. We see the mythos of how the Santa Clauses all went together, and we get some interesting plot twists that happen. Scott himself actually saw Santa at a young age, and I really like that. Really, it's done consistently well. But, however, there are some things here that are kind of a disappointment here. There is just a lot of fun to be had in this film, or in this series, and it worked really well as a really good, consistent story. I really enjoy this. The setting and stuff is really fun, and the story does keep you engaged. Now, it's only a certain amount of episodes. It's a weekly put through section of how the episodes pan out, and it's basically a very story of the week kind of story. I think Kal Penn did a really good job, but I will get to the acting once I get to the characters portion of the review. However, the story is very straightforward with some interesting twists and turns and callbacks to the other movies. I really enjoy that, and one of the best interesting callbacks is, well, what happened to my favorite character in the very after the second film and why he wasn't in the third one. I don't want to spoil anything, but it was just fun. And of course, the acting in here from the main cast and the new antagonist is really good. I think that, Kal Penn does a pretty good job, and they do make you feel sympathy for him, even though he gets a little bit too power hungry. But what I'm going to rate the story as a very flowing, decent narrative and etc., I'm going to give the story about a 7 out of 10. There are some spots that it could have some room for improvement, and I do hope that the second season does improve a lot of interesting things. But however, this one, I'm just definitely going to say it's worth watching at least once a year. So I would recommend checking this out just for the story alone. Let's move on to the characters, shall we? Now, when I'm talking about characters, I'm going to talk about the characters and the performance here. So let's get this on, shall we? Okay. The characters, Scott by Tim Allen is fantastic. Kal Penn does a great job. And of course, his wife Carol is fantastic too, and her actress, always a treat to see. One could say she's a little lost in some scenes. But anyhow, what I like about this is the characters are really good. The main cast still has their charm. Tim Allen definitely embodies Scott Calvin so well. It's just him, but he does give a genuine great performance as Santa Claus. Kal Penn, I really liked how he slowly went from this beaten down guy to straight out main villain era, and he's just incredibly fun. Cal was just great here. And also, Scott and Carol's kids are fantastic too. They are really well performed too. But this is where it's going to get to the portions that I don't like. And a lot of people are probably gonna leave some negative comments here. People that watched the show. Well, the new elves. Some of their performances are really good. Hence the new head elf. But then there are the elves that really give me a headache. There's Noel, who was just so annoying, and I don't think it's his age that bothered me or anything like that, but good God, he was just freaking annoying. I don't know. I'm hoping in season 2 he's not utilized as much as he is here. Constantly, he's just terrible. And then there was another elf who tries to do of this war-hungry, beaten down elf, and the kid actor is just doing an awful job. Oh God, I wish I could fight back in this war. And, it's just some of these performances were just straight out horrendously bad. Now some of the elves were really good. Judy was fantastic. I really enjoyed the actress that played her. But Noel and some of the other elves, dear God, oh Lord, they were just terrible. Also, there were some characters that I did want to see make a decent return to the show that didn't get to come back in here from the movies. Of course, there's Neil. Okay, besides, Bernard being my favorite character out of the original films, Neil is my second favorite character. He is hilarious, and it was a missed opportunity not to have him in this show. I mean, even for a cameo. We got Charlie back, and of course, my favorite episode with Bernard, we got him back, and I was just so happy to see Bernard back again. The actor has definitely aged, and they do explain it really well why he wasn't in the Santa Claus 3, and it works on such a good level. I mean, it's definitely a good explanation. However, there are some of the characters that I really wished could have been in here. Unfortunately, Charlie basically only gets a few scenes here and there, and they don't really focus on him trying to take up the reins as the new Santa Claus, which would have been decent if they would have done that, but I guess Charlie's actor has kind of stepped back from acting at this point, but I was happy that he got a cameo. Bernard's episode or scenes were easily done by the best. The actor who portrayed him beforehand definitely did not lose any of his acting skill. I think he has gotten better with age, and this would not be the only Christmas film that would feature him. He would also be in one of my favorite Christmas films that I watch every year, Life with Mikey, as the spoiled little brat cereal king commercial kid. And of course, another Christmas film is Harold and Kumar Christmas, which now that Kumar is actually in this, it's just great. But they don't share any scenes together, unfortunately, and he is able to shed light on the Santa mythos that I really like. They even bring up the Santa Claus that fell off the roof, and Scott actually had to put his clothes on. A lot of this I really did enjoy. Unfortunately, Curtis is not in here either, and man, what a missed opportunity. I would have loved to see what happened to Curtis, but maybe he'll be in season 2. I'm really hoping so. The actor that plays Curtis always is just a really good kid. And he did get the best line out of the second movie. The desantification process has begun! I don't know. I just enjoyed him in Santa Claus 2. And he was a great counterpoint for Bernard. And then in Santa Claus 3, he was the head elf. We also get mentions of Toy Santa, which is great. I mean, I am a big fan of the second movie. And Toy Santa is easily one of my favorite Christmas villains of all time, and I do hope he at least makes a return, and I kind of wish that he made a cameo in this, but they do reference him and they do talk about him. They do get more into the Santa Claus mythos as the show goes on. The characters are all really well fleshed out. The acting is halfway decent, even though Noel just gets on my last freaking nerve, and so does some of the other elf performances, but maybe in season 2 they've improved a little. They are kids, I've got to remember this, and this is Disney. This is probably one of Disney Plus's best shows put out in a long time. I mean, we've had shit shows like She-Hulk, and I've got to say, the characters anyway are just really great, relatable, with a good protagonist, Tim Allen, and making his references to Buzz Lightyear and his other projects are just funny, and there's even some Lost references in here. And then of course Kal Penn, who does a phenomenal job kicking butt in this role as the antagonist, and he's not really a bad guy, he just gets overly corrupted with power. And like Max Schreck from my favorite Christmas movie says, one can never have too much power. I do really enjoy that. So I'm going to give the characters portion 6.5 out of 10. The original cast and some of the new cast is still really good. And the nods that they do give us are great. I'm hoping in season 2 Neil comes back, and of course Curtis makes at least a cameo. He deserves a cameo. At least let him come back. But let's go on to, well, the music and... Surprisingly, the music and visuals are actually really well done. They do try to keep some CG into it, and the reindeer are just a little silly and etc., but it's not terrible, and they do try to keep some practical effects in there. The visuals are decent. Now, for the music-wise, they kind of use Christmas, generic music, and etc., but there's some good, fun, original tracks in there that are really, really interesting. And despite me complaining about Noel, like I said, the actor himself can sing, and I mean, he can sing really, really freaking well. I will say the visuals, though, are interesting, and the music choices are really good, too. It does feel grander and has a much bigger purpose to it. To me, anyway, it does. I really enjoy what we got out of this. I don't know, the music does seem to have a lot of effort put behind it, and the visuals are really good, too. I do like the desantification processes and stuff. That is just interesting. And especially one of my favorite portions is the snow globe thing. I really love the snow globe stuff. It's fun. Like when Scott takes the snow globe and you can just see how it travels with you. It's kind of cool. And they show more of the flying reindeer and stuff in this season, and it really does seem to have some genuine effort put into it. The music itself, like I said, I really like the music. I really like everything that is going on. The performances aren't so horrendous that, you know, you don't want to watch anymore. I consistently wanted to watch each episode of that season last year, and I enjoyed it, and I'm probably going to watch it again this year. In fact, I already did watch it again, but I mean, I'm going to watch it again with my family this year to probably get a good feel of it and get another interesting view of it. It's a good show. I mean, it's not the best or the greatest thing, but it is visually and musically better than anything Disney Plus has given us in, I don't know, 6 years? What's nice about it is it just feels like actual Christmas. And they didn't try to do anything to erase Christmas from the show. Now let's move forward to my final thoughts, what I personally think of the show as a whole.
Yeah, and?
As a whole, the show is watchable. It's good. And I do love the fact that Tim Allen came back to do this show. It's just really nice. Now, I heard that in production value, he actually fought, instead of saying Happy Holidays, he was going to say Merry Christmas. He didn't care about any of the politically incorrectness of saying Merry Christmas to people. No, he did not bend a knee to whoever told him to bend a knee. Now, there is some of woke Disney shit in the show, but it's very, very few and very far between. There is some interesting references like, well, why not put Mrs. Claus instead of being the old lady? You should be more of a feminist thing. I honestly think that was put in to make fun of those things that, the feminist extremists and all that other stuff. I think that was seriously all put in because Tim Allen is known to be a very traditional type of guy, a very traditional values type guy, and he was going to say Merry Christmas in the show, whether Disney wanted him to or not. And, the marketing, Disney actually did pretty decent with the marketing. I enjoyed everything about how this show came out. Even if some of the acting performances were kind of shitty, maybe they will improve with time. Maybe the kids will get better as the show continues to go on. But I am actually looking forward to season 2 that's coming out soon. Tim Allen does a fantastic job. I mean, he is able to carry the entire show. And I do hope they keep it for going a few more seasons. I am going to start looking forward to every episode that's dropped each week. And as a whole, yeah, with some minor setbacks and etc. that, with some missed opportunities, I will still stand by it and say, well, maybe the next season we're going to get more. I think a lot of cast members like Curtis and etc. not coming back, Curtis and Neil especially, and Robo Santa or Toy Santa is going to be saved for another couple seasons. I have a feeling that Robo Santa will make a return, or I don't know why I keep calling him Robo Santa, guys. Toy Santa will make a return in either this season that's coming out this year, in season 2, or at least in season 3. I'm really hoping for that this year. But if not, well, hey, keep us interested. I have a feeling that Curtis is going to return in season 2. This is just my thoughts, like I said. But altogether, the show is good. Kal Penn, Tim Allen, everyone here, including Bernard's actor and so many of the other actors, do a really good job. And the story is able to keep you interested and hold your interest. Season 1, as a whole, is really good. It's better than She-Hulk or any of that other crap that's been put out lately. So, my final score for the show itself would be a surprisingly 8 out of 10. This is one that I would definitely watch yearly, and I would watch it along with the other 3 Santa Clauses movies. Now, Santa Claus 3 being the worst, it still had some good moments with Martin Short and stuff, so I'm hoping to see him again. If we could see Jack Frost and some of the other characters from the past again, I would really enjoy that. The council itself was fun, and unfortunately we did lose a few actors around this time since the show has been crafted, and I have heard that Neil's actor has kind of not acting anymore, or he's in retirement, but I just hope he gets more of a mention, or at least more screen time. At least give him a cameo, guys. But yeah, the entire show, at the very end of the day, I'm going to say it's worth a watch. Give it a watch if you like Christmas shows. Give it a watch if you like Tim Allen. It's kind of like Santa Claus going on for Home Improvement. Anyhow, like I said, it's an 8 out of 10. Give it a watch. You guys gotta check it out. I think you're really gonna like this one. Anyhow, that about does it for this one. I know I did a Christmas video pretty early this year, but remember, next month is my Batman Returns video. So I hope you guys will be there for that. Well, that did it for the Santa Clauses Season 1. You know, I surprisingly enjoyed this show a lot more than I thought I would. It was so much better than She-Hulk and other crap that Disney Plus have been putting on their series. I mean, just recently I tortured myself by watching Rings of Power, the first episode, and I think I died a little inside. Luckily, the Santa Clauses TV show kind of restored a little bit of faith for me. I enjoyed it immensely, and I wasn't let down by it at all. They paid a good tribute to the movies, and they did their own thing in the process of that, while making Lost and Disney references throughout the run of the show. Oh, but I digress. It was still fun to watch, and I still recommend you guys giving it a chance. So come back next year for Season 2's review, and always remember, if you have anything else for me to talk about, tell me in the comments. Always remember, I'm listening.
Hello, this is Corey Feldman. Welcome to my studio here in Los Angeles, California, and I just wanted to pop in to say congratulations to Tim. Mr. Tim, I hope everybody's enjoying your videos. He's got some great content, and if you're enjoying his content, make sure you click on that little button right there that says subscribe. Why? Because everything on his channel is Bossa Nova. That's right. Congratulations on your channel, Mr. Tim. I'll be following you, and I know everybody else will too.